Right, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about charity shops. Now, I've not spoken about charity shops for at least like 2 videos on this channel, so it's been a long time for me not speaking about my favourite thing. So today, basically, I came up with the idea of just talking about 5 random things which I think would be interesting for people to know about charity shops, just when I thought of stuff that people might not know, and it might just be interesting to just throw my 5 random ideas out there as I think of them. Because I know a lot about charity shops that a lot of people don't, but I don't know what is common knowledge and what isn't. So I'm just going to be saying some random things that you might not know about charity shops to try and help you get better value for clothing and try and help you learn more about charity shopping and how it can benefit you by saving money and helping those specific charities and not spending money on new clothing, which helps the environment in turn as well, which go and watch yesterday's video or the day before's video when I speak about that. So if you do like this video, before we get into it, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me and means a lot to me as well. So let's get into it. So we've got the laptop out again. Here we go. So basically, the first 5 things, these are just 5 things that came to my head. So I didn't put that much effort into thinking of ideas because there's a lot of thoughts that just come straight to my brain when I think about charity shops. The first one, and the one which gave me this video idea, which is about online shops and where you can find charity shopping online as well. Because a lot of people don't know this about charity shops, but for example, most charity shops do actually have an online store as well. In my experience, it's not as good value because obviously they're making it accessible to everyone, so they put prices differently than they would in other situations, but you can find really unique things on there. So for example, one that I visit a lot is Oxfam's website because theirs is updated regularly as well. Really good website if you want anything. And it's also quite useful as well if you're looking for anything specific from a charity shop, because then in turn you can look for specific things on a big website where there's a lot of selection. Now, some charity shops have their own website, but they may also have a Depop account, for example, where they sell their clothing and different stuff online in that specific way as well. One that makes it quite well known, it's posted on all of their charity shops, is Rainbows, for example, British Heart Foundation. I follow them all on Depop and stuff like that to see what kind of stuff they get in. And if you follow them, they just post loads of stuff. And for example, I've seen basketball jerseys getting sold on there for good prices, stuff that I'm really interested in, just really unique stuff, which is just amazing. If you've seen any of my Rating Depop videos, you'll know that I really like the charity shops on there because they post really interesting stuff that you'd never find anywhere else, and for decent prices. It's never as good as what you'd find in the charity shop itself, but in some senses I can understand that because you're projecting it to a much larger audience than you are if it's in a small town, for example, that no one's probably going to see it. But that's one thing that I think people should be more aware of, is that aspect of charity shopping within itself. Another one which I think is quite useful to know is about rotations, and this is mainly about where charity shops change their clothing stock and stuff like that. So many charity shops will, for example, they'll want to sell a certain amount before they put the stuff in the back out. That's because obviously space issues and stuff like that. Sometimes some charity shops don't have enough. For example, men's clothing is sometimes in quite short supply, so there may not be enough out. So it's good to know which charity shops are getting sufficient amount of clothing and realizing when the rotations are coming in, because usually they might do it once a week. They might do it every 3 days, they might do it every 4 weeks, and maybe you'll go back and in 4 weeks they've still got pretty similar stuff because that stuff hasn't sold and they just haven't changed it. And it's a really interesting thing to be aware of. I'm not sure how many of them do this because I'm not on the inside of a charity shop, so I don't really know how often they do this. But I have seen multiple times where I've gone to one charity shop and then the same branch in a different location, they sometimes will shift it over there to try and sell it there maybe. It's an interesting thing to think about, but one that is not really necessary if you go into a place that you don't know. Because if you go into a new place, you're not obviously going to understand when they're putting new stuff out. It's just going to be look of the drawer and stuff like that. And I've had it where I've gone into a charity shop, they've put new stuff out while I'm in there, and then it's still something that I've bought. So at the end of the day, it's quite luck-based how you find stuff in charity shops. And that's why on this channel I always call it a treasure hunt, because you never genuinely know what you're going to find. And that is one of the aspects of charity shopping, which I say all the time is one of the best parts about it. The next thing is similar to this, is buying stuff quickly. Well, I wouldn't say making rash decisions is the best idea. I'll say that before I say this. But, like, not leaving stuff for a long period of time, especially if you're in major cities and stuff like that. Mainly because it will get taken. Someone else will definitely think it's good as well. So what I would always be wary of is taking your chances when they come. When you're in a small town where there's not much foot traffic, like I said in a previous video, it's more likely to get left there for a longer period of time. If it's something specific like jeans, which are in a specific size, again, might get left for a longer period of time. But when it's a t-shirt, a jumper that's just in a standard size, like medium, large, small, it's likely that it's not going to be there for a long period of time. So you really do need to take your chances when they come, because if you don't get it in that specific moment, you might go back and then it's not there. However, I would say only do this if you're sure about you wanting to buy it, you know? Like, if you're not sure, it doesn't really matter because you didn't want it that bad. I would always say buy stuff that you're going to wear, because otherwise you're buying stuff and it's just, you may as well let someone else enjoy it. That's what I always think anyway. And I've done that so many times in my life where I've just bought stuff and I've never really worn it, and I've bought it because I thought I would, and I have made that mistake many times. Next thing is buying random accessories. So you might find stuff that's like gold. Literally, I've found stuff in charity shops that are just so random and it's unbelievable, whether that's games for buying people for Christmas, whether that's hats, scarves, whether that's like that artist thing which I bought, which is like how you model a person and stuff like that. It's really good. I really enjoy it, whether that's a specific mug, or anything which you're specifically looking for, which you think a charity shop definitely isn't going to have this, and then it had it. Like art pieces and everything like that. You could find some amazing stuff which you never thought you'd find there. Example, those basketball cards I found. Literally always double check the accessory section, because there is the most random stuff there that you'll ever see in your life. And sometimes you'll find the most amazing stuff there because no one else is looking there. The final thing which I would say is that charity shops are generally better for women's clothing, normally. The men's section is usually extremely small in most cases. There are a few exceptions to this, of course, there always is. But in my experience, women's clothing is so much more full, and you can find so many good things and so many cool things there. Like, sometimes I don't have a look that often, I'll be honest, but when I do have a look, you can find the coolest stuff that you've never seen before. So if you are someone that shops in the women's section, I would really suggest having a look at it, because there's so much selection. Like, I talk about charity shopping and all the insane stuff I've found that just is amazing to me. There's so much more in the women's section which anyone can literally find. It is really good, and I would suggest having a look, because it's always worth it. Like, there's so much selection for the women's clothing comparatively to the men's. I would always say it is a really good idea to have a look in there before buying it new, because you can always find some good stuff. However, in my experience, the women's clothing is a bit more pricey. They do charge a bit more for that for some reason, but I'm not 100% sure, and that is like just from my experience. I could be completely wrong there. But that is my 5 random tips for today. If you have enjoyed this video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It genuinely does mean the world to me, and thank you so much for watching.